The best way to describe this movie is frustrating. Roleplay is an Amazon Prime action thriller starring Kaley, Connie Nielsen, David Oyelowo, and a cameo by Bill Nighy, who actually is the biggest star, I think, in this particular film, and you can actually see it. Let's just go into the review, because when it comes to B movies, this falls in line with those kind of movies. It falls in line with movies like Freelance. It falls in lines with a streaming service movie. And as much as I want to complain, I'm glad that it was not shown in the cinema. I'm glad that you don't have to pay a lot of money to actually go see this. I'm glad that this is at home, because it feels like that's where it actually belongs. Now, what worked for this particular film? Because as usual, I want us to give it a logical look. I want us to give it a logical review. For one, the kids in this movie are pretty interesting. They are very realistic, especially the young girl. She is what I've seen kids be like. She's the kind of kid that you look at and go like, yeah, that's how kids are. And the brother, the relationship is more or less that kind of... It's a more realistic take on the relationship between a brother and a sister. And as you go on with the film, as much as they are put in some difficult situation, they react the way naturally a kid would react to. So I enjoyed those two. I also enjoyed the relationship with their father and mom. I think the script kind of made it a bit more, realistic. And when it came to the main character, the mom, I actually enjoyed it because it's centered on her. It's centered on this one particular, I don't know if she's an agent or an assassin. I didn't get that point very well. But she's a badass. She's supposed to be, globe-trotting, taking out killers and stuff. And she's introduced in a very good way. I think that was a very clever way to make us understand the kind of person that she is. And actually the beginning clearly tells us what the movie is about. It's about disguises. And it's about a story of a woman who disguises herself and has been living with her husband without the knowledge of the husband that she is whatever she's supposed to be. Now, apart from that, I generally like the feel of the film. It's a very light film. It's short. Even the soundtrack and the music in the film tells you what kind of movie that you're watching. It's a very light tone movie. It feels more like a comedy. It's not taking itself too serious until the action set pieces come in. And when it comes to the action set pieces, you don't get a lot of that. You get a few action set pieces. Yeah, I think my favorite was one when she was in Germany and she was followed by two these people, and they go into a club and they have a little fight. And then there's another third act movie in the villain's lair where the house is surrounded, the mansion is surrounded by trees, and they have like a shootout within those trees. So I thought that was pretty good. But generally, outside those two action set pieces, everything else felt lighter, and the movie felt like it wanted to focus more on the husband, who's played by David, and the wife, who's played by Kaley. That's what the director, Thomas Vincent, the French director, wanted to focus on. He wanted to focus on the relationship between the two. And I think they actually made an attempt to make us believe that. But, and this is where we go into the bad. So we go into the bad. Dave, who is the husband, is the definition of a simp. And this is where we go into what I think about the film, because it feels like this script was written by AI. It feels like this script was written by someone who just wrote the skeleton and then put it on AI and said, write a progressive movie showing women empowerment and a generic action comedy. That's how it feels like, because the husband feels like an absolute simp. He doesn't feel realistic. He feels like a character who is written to look and feel weak so that every other character around him can feel strong. And I was like, I'm sorry, we are not, I don't understand what's going here, because I could not buy that a person can be that gullible. I don't know if you understand. I could not buy that a person can be that blind to whatever is happening around him. Bill Nighy has a cameo, which is one of the best part about this film. Star power is important in this kind of movies. Now, I understand that sometimes you need to get some actors because of the budget, because the budget of a movie dictates a lot. And I understand that this is not a big film, so they had to get, good actors, but not like over the top big superstars. But the difference when Bill Nighy shows up in that particular cameo can be felt. That moment is where now you feel like the movie is going somewhere. He adds a certain kind of energy to the film that changes everything. For me, that's the moment I went like, wait, where is this story going? Things became interesting when he came on the screen. When they meet in that particular club, that's when even the dialogue moves faster. Even the exchange moves faster. Bill Nighy made such a big difference that when his beat ends, everything else just feels blank. It feels like the movie doesn't have anything else to offer us, which now goes into now the star power. The star power of Bill Nighy. I think if he was made the main villain of the whole movie, the movie would have been more interesting. I don't have a problem with the villain that we have, but I wish that they would have made him the villain, because he purely plays the villain. I know he's expensive and stuff, but my goodness, when he came in, everything, and if you've watched the movie, you understand what I'm talking about. Everything changes, everything moves much faster. Now, apart from that, the script feels like it was written by AI, or the person who wrote this just had a prompt and then AI developed everything else. The dialogue is poor, the dialogue is slow, the dialogue is boring. It's not as exciting as you'd expect this kind of movie to be. Now, it gets exciting when Bill Nighy comes in. That's why I'm saying Bill Nighy is actually a big superstar, because he delivers in a way that naturally any other actor wouldn't. And everything else after him, even with the dialogue, feels kind of boring, because I struggled to stay focused. Even with the big final action set piece, the bad guys feel generic. They talk in a generic way, they exchange in a very generic way, so you don't feel like you're watching something different, you don't feel like you're watching something unique. So at the end of the day, and I don't want to say that the main character was not interesting, but if you want to write strong female characters, don't write strong female characters. Write interesting characters and add all these other aspects about them, that they might be all these, they might be superstars, they may be super spies or super assassins. Add that as a sprinkle on top, because if you focus on creating strong female characters, it will be so obvious that it will actually be bad. Because I'm talking about one particular henchwoman. She's in the film and you feel like, the writers went like, yeah, we need a generic strong female character, let her have that aggressive look, so that would make her look and feel strong. So for me, those are, that moment you go like, this script doesn't feel like it was written by human beings. It doesn't feel like it was well thought through. Everything feels a bit rushed, despite the movie being actually poorly paced and kind of boring. So that's role play. That's what I thought about it. It's a very, it's where it belongs, but it's not even as good as an average streaming service movie. It's a kind of movie that you'd put on a Sunday evening and just chill out. It's something that you let it play in the background. Every now and then, some interaction, especially with the kids, become interesting. Bill Nighy's cameo is the most interesting part about this particular movie. So basically, that's role play. If I was to give it out of 5, I would give this a 2.1 out of 5. It's not a good movie, but it's something that can actually play in the background. It has a very good-looking third act. When they go to that bad guy's house, the surrounding and the architecture of the house looks good. I was like, wow, that actually looks good. And the forest around it with the trees, I was like, yeah, actually that looks fantastic. So yeah, that's my review of role play. Remember to always watch what you enjoy and enjoy what you watch. I shall see you on the next one. If you enjoyed my video and you want to see more of my face and my way of, interpreting all these films, please like and also subscribe, and I shall see you on the next one.